Cloud DB, shaping your new normal.
Welcome everyone to the 2021 APEC Groundbreakers Virtual Tour by Apaco UC. This year our event will be the biggest one ever done with 144 sessions, including normal sessions, workshops, and hands-on labs from 100 different speakers over 17 days. Also, it will cover sessions in 4 different languages. Please remember to register to as many sessions as you can, as you will be able to watch the replays of the sessions you are registered to up to December 30 this year. I would like to say thanks to our Oracle user groups and Java user groups that made this event possible, and also to our sponsors, Oracle Groundbreakers, and your main sponsor, CloudDB. Now for today's session, Multitenant 12.1 to 21C, a technical deep dive by Anuj Mohan. Please feel free to write questions at any time by using the chat window of live webinar in your top lower side of your screen, and Anuj will be answering all questions by the end of the session. If you have any issues during this session, please feel free to use the same chat window to let me know, and I will try to help you the best I can. Now, without any more delays, I would like to leave you with this amazing session by Anuj Mohan. Anuj, the room is all yours.
Thanks, Francisco. I appreciated the good introduction, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking time and joining this session. So my name is Anuj Mohan, and I am a member of Oracle ACE program. I work for Big River Steel as a principal enterprise architect, and today we are going to talk about Oracle Multitenant. This is a slide about Multitenant, about Oracle ACE program. So if you have any interest, feel free to check the link and and see if you want to apply for this. So we will be talking about Oracle Multitenant, and let's begin. So Oracle 12c Release 1 introduced more than 500 new features. It was great. And 12c Release 2 introduced more new features, 18c, 19c, 20c. So yeah, like if you talk about how much changes we got from 11G through 21C, it's a lot. And but the good news is we're not going to talk about everything. We'll talk about very, very selected topic, Oracle Multitenant. And so this is the slide I get from Oracle Corporation, and it's basically Oracle sales slide, but I've been using this for many of my sessions on multi-tenant, and the reason is this one slide explains why you want to hear next 50 minutes or 55 minutes on multi-tenant. So if you're in an old school DBA or using like a Oracle from 11G days or maybe older days, I've been using Oracle since 7.34. So yeah, I'm really, really old school. And I've seen Oracle just a client server environment to internet days like 8i version. And the big change came in 8i, and after that and this is my opinion. So after 8i, I think the biggest change came in was 12.1 when Oracle introduced multi-tenant architecture. So what is multi-tenant and why you want to use that? I assume most of you know about it, but I think it's still important to talk about this slide because it will give you a quick refresher. Or if you are new, then you must need to know why you want to use multi-tenant. So the point here is so multi-tenant architecture introduced in 12.1. And then you had an option to use multi-tenant architecture and traditional database architecture. And I'll be talking about all those stuff in the following slides. But for now, so it was introduced in 12.1, and you had an option to choose between multi-tenant and traditional database architecture until 19C. 20C was never released, but in 21C you have option to use multi-tenant only. So traditional um, architecture is not available anymore. So if I was talking to you prior to 21C, I'll be giving you the slide why you want to use Oracle multi-tenant. And the reason is self-contained PDB for each application. So we've been consolidating databases in 8 IDs, 9 IDs. If I have to consolidate, uh, I'll be doing a schema level consolidation, but that has its own limitations. Um, Managing resources and managing security, public synonyms, a lot of challenges. So with this architecture, you can still consolidate databases and using multi-tenant architecture and avoid all those limitations or challenges, right? So with this architecture, if you are using this architecture moving from 11G to 12.1, I assume not anymore. I mean, most of the people are already on 12C or 18C or 19C. But if you are not using, by any chance, if you're not using multi-tenant architecture, the key highlights are you do not need to change your application, and clones are very easy. And I'll be talking about in the following slides. Portability via pluggability. It's really easy to plug in and plug out the databases. I'll be talking on the following slides. And why you want to use, another reason is shared memory and background processes. So here in this part, um, your background, you have for running 5 pluggable databases or 50 pluggable database, you'll have single set of background processes and a shared memory. So you, if you're running n number of pluggable databases inside your multi-tenant or container database, you're not running the n number set of background processes, so you are saving memory there, and shared architecture will allow you to run more. So that's the key benefit. You can really consolidate and achieve more on your server using this architecture than the traditional architecture. And if you're using this architecture, you can do the common operations in single shot. So manage many as one, and if you need, then you'll have a more granular control if you need. So this is the key benefit. Um, and so other reasons, the key benefit here is you minimize capex, so you can run more applications per server. I think I talked about it. Minimize opex, so operational expenses, manage many as one, standardized procedures and service level, cloning for development and testing. Maximize agility because rapid provisioning and portability through pluggability. Ease of adoption, you do not need to change your application if you're going on this. So for the CDB introduction, so if you see this, this will look like a very traditional database diagram, but here I will call it CDB, container database, and I will have pluggable databases. So basically you are allowed to run databases inside database, and the database outside is a container database, and inside databases are a pluggable database. You'll have a PDB seed, also a seed database, and that's what you will use to create quick clones. So using this seed, you can create these pluggable databases. It'll be a vanilla database, and then you can change your stuff, whatever you need, create more table spaces, create users, load data, and all that good stuff. So this is architecture. So in a simple words, like you can run database inside database, and the outside database is container database, inside database are pluggable database. I think we talked about it. So you have a common memory area, right? And you have some shared system files like system, sysOx, temp, undo, redo, and the control files, and then you have a pluggable databases attached to it, and they will have their own files, right? How you create, so you DBCA will give you an option to create as in a container database. Then there will be another screen to manage pluggable database, so you can do other operations, right? You can create pluggable database using using DBCA. And the next thing is, which I talked to you about, is creating clones. So you can clone a remote PDB. So say I have a CDB one running a PDB as Anuj, and I want to clone it as Mohan into CDB2. I can do that. It's a 12.1 option. So you have to take the source PDB in read-only mode, connect to CDB2 as sys, and run the clone command. And this is it. Obviously, if you're on a CDB2, you need a database link to access that source PDB on CDB1 and run a simple command to clone it. 12.1 option, you have to take it in read-only mode. And there are some limitations. So yeah, you can read that Indian format, character state stuff. And I talked to you that we have a seed database, so you can create your clone using a PDB seed. All you need to tell is like where you want to keep the data files, right? So DB file name convert. And so run a create PDB command, create pluggable database name, define the admin user, and then you can define your custom data files if you want to, right? And whenever your operation is complete, it will end at the mount stage, so you have to manually open it. Within the same CDB, you can clone it. So in the previous example, I told you like you want to clone in CDB2 and the source is in CDB1, but within the same also you can do that. 12.1 option, you have to take in read-only mode, and a simple command, create pluggable database from admin user and and the password for the sys user and DB file name convert, and then manually open it. So then we talked about portability, right? So you can unplug and plug. Pretty simple and very powerful feature. So you connect to source CDB and shut down the source pluggable database, and then run the unplug operation. So unplug operations is nothing but you store database PDB metadata into an XML file. And then if you do not want this, then you can drop, but you can drop it later when you are assured that you really do not want. And you have to make the copy of data files because you'll need them for plug back in another system, right? So here, then you connect to your destination container database, and the XML file we created in the previous stage, stage or previous slide, you can use that XML file to check if there is a compatibility mismatch. So this command will create, it'll populate information in PDB plug in violation. So say you have Apex installed on the source system, and the target system you do not have Apex, or any other, like if there is a version mismatch itself or anything, everything will be populated in this view. So once you run this command, you do a select on this, and if there is a violation, you need to resolve that. And once there is no, then you can plug in, and the command is create pluggable database name using this XML file which we created, and no copy, assuming you already copied the data files. If not, then you need to, your command will be a little different, but you can do that. So this is 12.2 option. You can clone within the same container. But the difference is you do not have to take your source into read-only mode, right? So your PDB source PDB is running in read-write mode. This is an enhancement in 12.2. Simple command create pluggable database, and all that stuff is same. The difference is your source PDB is in read-write mode, and you can create a clone.
Hi, I'm trying to get Anuj back. Looks like he got disconnected. I'm just trying to get him back. There we go, he's back. Anuj, you are in mute and no sound. You got disconnected. Hi, Anuj. I cannot hear you yet. I can see you. Let me just turn on your audio. You should have got a notification for the audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. You just got disconnected.
Okay, yeah. So do you know where I was? Like, do I have to go back, or I can start from where I am? I was on a.
Ken, do you recall where was the exact part that Anuj was when he was presenting? I just was working in my computer, I didn't pay attention, and I lost that. I just noticed when I couldn't hear him anymore that I noticed that he was gone. I don't know if you were able to write in the chat box, Ken. Yeah, you're already like 15 minutes in the session when you got disconnected.
Okay, so probably I was on a this slide. I mean, I felt like something like some click happened, and then I was out of the
Okay.
session.
You need to share your screen again. They're not sharing.
Okay, just 1 second. Share my screen. Share. Can you see my screen?
It's just slowly loading the first time. It take a little bit. Let's see. Still not showing. Can you stop sharing and sharing again?
Yeah, share. Sharing blocked by your browser. Share a screen. Okay.
Yep, I can see now.
Okay. And so I have to start from this slide number 18.
All right. Good. There we go. You're in presenter mode. I will put myself in mute again.
Okay. Thanks, Francisco. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. Something happened, and I realized that my session was disconnected. So okay. So we are talking about hot clone 12.2 option, and the good part is you do not have to take your source pluggable database in read-only mode. So you can still operate in read-write mode. It's application to your application is available to your user, but still you can do a clone. That's a 12.2. Any pluggable database operations will end in the mount stage. You have to manually open it. There are ways you can define to open automatically, but by default, it ends at the mount stage. Right. So 12.2 option hot clone. So you can do it. You can do across CDBs and same stuff. The only good part is you do not have to take your pluggable database into read-only mode. Simple command: create pluggable database, and from the source PDB and database link for the remote container, and manually open it. Okay, so we are going on a first key feature on 12.2 local undo. So if you recall, I said like undo table space was showing on the left side, but in 12.1 architecture, but in the 12.2, they allowed you to create local undo for these pluggable databases, and why I have a slide for that. But for now, how you do that. So this is what I was showing you in 12.1. Your undo is here. You can still have undo here, but you will be able to create undo table space on these pluggable databases. How you do that? Startup upgrade mode, alter database, local undo on, shutdown, immediate, and startup. And it helps with PDB Flashback, PDB Relocate, and many other features. So you can do a flashback on a PDB label, and these are the requirements. So these are the key things, like no auxiliary location required, and you need to local undo enabled, 12.2 version. So local undo enabled true, set flashback on, which you will do in any case, right? And simple steps: alter pluggable database, close immediate, flashback pluggable database to timestamp, and open a reset log. So same stuff which you do in a traditional database, you can do it here on a pluggable database level, right? So 12.2 gave you another feature, refreshable clones. So we talked about it, right? So you can create a cold clone, 12.1, then 12.2, you create a hot clone. You do not have to take the source pluggable in read-only mode. So it's available to application in read-write mode, and you can do a clone. Now, the third key feature is refreshable clone. So you create a hot clone and you define a refresh mode in automatic mode or in manual mode. You can do it manually, and your clone database will be clone pluggable database will be refreshed automatically or manual. So the keyword is refresh mode manual here, right? And when you have to refresh, you say alter session set containers. This is, you define the refreshable pluggable database here, set the session, and open in read-only mode. And after that, whenever you have to refresh, since it's a manual, you say alter pluggable database PDB1 refresh, and it will get refreshed from the source, right? In automatic mode, you define the time when it will get refreshed, and it will automatically get refreshed. Like, so here I define 5 minutes, it will refresh every 5 minutes. Okay. So we talked about hot clone, we talked about refreshable clones, and the third feature, and the next feature is PDB relocate. If you have a capability to clone a pluggable database without changing its open mode, so it's available in read-write mode, and you can clone it. You have capability to refresh it on demand whenever you want. So if you combine these two functionalities, you can create a relocate functionality. So you can actually live relocate a pluggable database from one container to another container, and it works flawless. All you need to do is create a database link between CDB1 and CDB2, and this purple database can be relocated to here to CDB2 with a simple command, and it will get relocated like this. I'll show you the command in the next slide. So you create a database link and you say like create pluggable, create database link, right? And then run a relocate command. And the relocate command is create pluggable database PDB2 from PDB2 add database link on the CDB1 relocate. So you can do a live relocate. One feature came in 18C, which is an extension of refreshable clones. So now you can do a refreshable PDB switchover. And what this feature is, so say I have a PDB here in CDB1, which is getting refreshed from CDB2. Another PDB I have, which is in CDB1, and it's refreshing CDB, another PDB in CDB2. If I have a if I have a resource problem and I want to change the refresh modes, I can change that using this feature. You call it switchover, right? So you can switch the roles. So say for here, for the example here in this, sorry, here, my primary is here and my refreshable is here. And with this feature, I can make this one as a primary and this one as a refreshable. And it's very simple command. And command is alter pluggable database, refresh mode, manual, or from this database link switch over. Very powerful command, single command, and this will become primary and this will become a refreshable clone. So a lot of stuff happens in the background, but for you it's plain and simple. And I put the set of commands, how you can do that. Let me not read through the commands, otherwise we will miss our timeline. But yeah, if you run my slides, it's in a sequence. And here is the command, final command, switch over, and which will make this one, this here, this side was primary, now this side became primary and this side became refreshable. Okay, so now we had a problem. So if we are using a hot clone in active data guard environment, we had a challenge. This here, there's a recovery going on for the hot clone, and here active data guard or data guard, you also have a recovery going on between two container databases. So there was a conflict, and in 18C there was an enhanced integration. So to resolve that problem, so you create a self-referencing database link which will get replicated because of this recovery. Then you create a transient no standby database, right? With a clause standby is equal to none. So you create a pluggable database here that will not be replicated. Then you create a cold clone for this one, which will be replicated. And then you drop the first one, right? And then all the changes will replicated using this recovery. Okay, 18C next feature, Snapshot Carousel. So say if you want to automate your backups for the purpose, like if there is a data corruption or something and you want to go and access your previous version, so you can do that if you implement this feature. And your pluggable databases will be snapshot on a certain interval, and you can support make 8 copies, and when you reach to the ninth copy, it will overwrite the first one, something like this. So if you want to do a point in time recovery or debug a date specific problem, you can use this feature, Snapshot Carousel 18C. CDB Fleet Management 18C new feature. So what this feature is, like you've been managing many as one, like so you have a multiple pluggable database and you run a command to manage all those pluggable database on a CDB level. CDB Fleet Management will give you an option to run those on a CDB level. So say you have multiple CDBs and you want to manage them many as one, you can use this feature. And the concept here is called a lead CDB and member CDB. So you define it on a CDB level that this one is my lead CDB, and then and these are my member CDBs, and you do an operation on a lead CDB level, and the member CDBs will follow that. Right. And and you can check that in database properties if it's a lead CDB, true or false. Okay, so I'm going back again on 12.2 because when we are doing a consolidation, we have a responsibility to manage memory resources also on a pluggable database level. So these parameters like DB cache size, SGA target, SGA min size, PGA aggregate limit, these you can set on a PDB level also. And the setting on a PDB level will take a preference. PGA aggregate target also, okay? And another powerful feature was max IOPS and max Mbps. So you can actually control the IO operations also on a PDB levels. And this feature was available in Exadata before multi-tenant, and so they made it available in the multi-tenant. So in a non-Exadata environment, you can use this feature, right? Okay, so lockdown profiles, it's a little feature on a security side. It's not little, it's a big feature. And I'll quickly show you what it is. So say you want to give a alter system privilege to someone because that person should be able to flush share pool, but you do not want that person to do anything more than flush shared pool with alter system because it's a very powerful privilege. So you create a lockdown profile, right? And you allocate this alter system to that profile with a clause flush share pool. Then you can allocate this profile to that user, and then you disable alter system. So first you enable with a clause and then you disable. So basically doing that, you will be just giving alter system flush shared pool, but you revoked alter system. And when you allocate this when you assign this profile to the user will be able to do just alter system flush shared pool, but not any other stuff. So yeah, it's a nice profile. It's a nice feature. All right. So, but in 18C, they came up with a more enhanced lockdown profile, and it's called dynamic lockdown profile, and you should be able to control a lot of resources using this. So, and and so to enable it and disable it, you do not need to take your PDBs down. So no need to restart either CDB or PDB, and so it's a online feature. Alter system set PDB lockdown. If you do it on a CDB level, it will affect all your PDBs. If you're doing it on an application root level, then all your application PDBs will be affected. If you're running it on a PDB level, then obviously you're running it on a PDB level. And if you want to disable lockdown profile, you set it to null. And what all you can control here. So I'll show you. I have like these three lockdown profiles: red, orange, and purple. And they have these features. If I'm saying green, then these are allowed, and these here in the second line, these are restricted. So and here here I have resources. So let's see. So I can control Java, I can control partitioning, I can control network, I can control operating system, I can control common schema access, I can control CPU, I can control IO ops, I can control SGA. So if I'm giving someone this lockdown profile, basically I'm allowing everything here, and I'm saying two cores, this much of IO and this much of memory. Then here I'm restricting in the orange and I'm restricting everything in the purple, but I'm giving more resources here. So you can create any combination, right? For this, I'll move to my next section, which is application containers. And so application containers, like if you're running a SaaS application, you can use this feature. Um, and the story behind is like the goal is to run one application, one database for every application. And let me go to the next slide where it will start making more sense. So I'll show you here. This is a traditional multi-tenant architecture, and if I'm adding an application container on top of that, so there will be an application root, right? Everything same, but it will be defined as application root. There will be an application root created. If I create this like this, when I'm creating my PDB, I'll say use as application container. This is the clause, as application container. And when I create a PDB as application container, it will create a application.
And Anuj got disconnected again.
Hear me?
Yes, you just got disconnected again. You need to share your screen one more time.
Okay, I don't know what's going on.
By mistake, accident, are you refreshing the screen, the browser?
No, I am not.
It was weird.
So I'm on my slide, so I'm not doing anything. Okay, but the good news is I whenever I'm getting disconnect, I know it.
That's good. We had a
Yeah.
situation, a speaker that was for 45 minutes. He didn't notice he got disconnected because he put himself with no sound in the computer. And I was calling him. I was doing everything.
Yeah, no, whenever I'm getting disconnected, I'll immediately know.
Okay.
All the background humming is gone. So I know, oh,
Yeah, I
I'm
can
disconnected.
see you in the PowerPoint, not presentation mode.
Here.
There we go. All good. Myself in mute again.
Okay, thanks, Marcy. All right. Sorry, I don't know. We have some technical glitch. I was disconnected again. So let's move back. Very few more slides to go. So we are talking about application containers, right? So you create as application container. Once you have created this, then you install your application, right? So for installing application, you create some tables, you update some tables, you insert some row. That's all good stuff you do in the second stage. Keywords are begin install, end install, right? You create a clone of this, and whenever you have to refresh the application to the clone, you use the sync clause. And good part is, even if it is not making much sense, I have more slides to explain what I'm talking about. Okay, so here I created my pluggable database as application container. It will create a PD application root, right? Manually open it. I'll set my current container, right? And then I'll say begin install. I'll give my application version application name, and this is the application version, right? And I'll run my DDLs and DMLs. At the end of application installation, I'll say my application name and install, and this is the version, right? Straightforward. Now my application root is ready. Now I'll clone it. So I'll come here. Then I'll have to run the clone command. So I set the app root container first, and then I'll say create pluggable database, application PDB underscore clone one, give a admin user, and basically I created a clone. I open it, right? So whatever application I installed is ready in my clone for use, and I can create as many as clones I want and distribute it. Right. So say I created 5 clones, 5 people are using those, and then at some point I have to install an upgrade. So I'll install it on a application root, and I'll just sync the PDBs, and that's how I will do. So I will set the container to I'll set the container as a clone 1, right? And then I'll run alter pluggable database application app install sync. My changes will be synced to my clone 1. And you can do many things. So you can upgrade your application, and the clauses are begin upgrade, end upgrade, right? And then you can connect them the same way and run a sync. And actually, so if you're doing an upgrade, then you can say that, okay, change my application version from 12 from X to Y, and then you do an end upgrade, and when you check, it will reflect you that your application version is changed, and I'll show you here quickly. All right. So patching and upgrade. You say you you upgraded your application, and then when you do a sync, before doing a sync, so you check your current application version, then you upgrade or patch your system, and you change application version from 2.4.4 to 2.5.0. Right. Now, you end upgrade or end patching, and this version is 2.5.0, right? And then you check from DB applications the version, and it will show you 2.5.0. Now, before doing a sync, you connect to your clone, and you check the application version from DB applications. It will show you 2.4.4. You run the sync, and then you check again, and it will show you new version. So there'll be a quick check that your refresh was successful, sync was successful, right? I think this is the last feature, the proxy PDB, because and I put it in the last because we've been talking about refreshable clone. We've been talking about sync. Unfortunately, the sync works within the same container. So if you have 50 databases in the same container, you can actually sync. But if you have another 10 databases in a different container, that will not work. So to resolve that problem, you use a proxy PDB, and what you do is you create a proxy PDB for your application root in other database, and then your sync will work using these. So the sync needs a local PDB, and you can create a proxy PDB and run the sync using these. So that's I work around for the challenge we had, right? Some new features. You can run PDB relocate using DBCA. You can do a remote clone using DBCA. You can do it in a silent mode. Automated PDB relocation for fleet patching. Automatic database diagnostic monitor. ADDM support for PDB databases came in 19C. PDB recovery catalog. Workload capture and replay on a PDB level. So these are all the new features in 19C. And so if you want to review documentation is really improved. I would say like it's a lot improved starting 12.2, and it's getting better like every release. There's a lot of video tutorials which you can refer. So yeah, this is it. Thank you very much for your time, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Let me see. Francisco, do you have a question here I can answer?
Hi, Anuj.
Yes, sir. Is there a
Thank you
question I
so
can answer?
much. And I have no questions up to this point. Let's give you a couple seconds to see if anyone has any questions and they want to post in the chat.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Anuj has the PowerPoint on the screen showing his email, and you can contact him at any time by emailing him or also
Yeah, and
contacting him by his Twitter handle.
yeah,
And
my
if
Twitter handle
anyone
is
is watching also the replays, they will be available until December 30. Please feel free also to contact Anuj on the email on the screen, and he will be answer any questions regarding this presentation. Looks like there's no questions, Anuj. In that case, thank you so much for taking the time on a Sunday for you and so late, and to share your knowledge with the community, not only Asia Pacific, but around the globe. And please take care and be safe.
Thanks, Francisco. I appreciate the opportunity and thank you very much for taking time and attending the session. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Feel free to reach out to me on my email address or via Twitter. Thank you. Have a
Thank you.
nice day.
Have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
CloudDB, shaping your new normal.